What's up my people? Today I'm going to show you how to make a text overlay just like the one you're seeing right now. I made this intro with just some paper, some markers, and then I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit it. And let's go right into it. The first thing you want to do is you want to draw what you want to overlay on your video. So for today's example, I'm actually going to make an outro for my channel. I just wanted to say like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to use that as an example and walk you through. I myself, I like the handmade look. The handmade look, I want it to feel real. I like it a little bit messy, so I just go with the flow and I try to have some lucky mistakes. I'm not trying to be perfect by any means, and I just have like a ton of paper to make mistakes and play and mess around. And I think it's nice if it's messy. Like I think like it could even be cool. I have no idea what this is going to look like, but let's scrunch a piece of paper and just like, no, okay, that didn't fit, so I'm just gonna do one like this. No, I didn't like that either. Try again. You see that you have like a little leftover mark from the piece before. I like to leave that because I think the more I'm messy and the more I have fun in the creation, the cooler it's going to look afterwards. All right, let me try again without talking to the camera. I mean, is that? I guess you can read what it means. So it's not. I think this will work. I like it. It's messy, but I guess for the comment, it could be cool to have like a little. And since it's been a tradition to comment 5 times on my channel, I'll just have like a little. Alright, for step 2, we're going to create the actual camera movement. So for that, you want to spread out all the paper on the floor, kind of like this. Let's see, we're almost there. And here. Looks pretty good. So what I just did is I laid out all the elements and I put plenty of white space around them. This will make more sense later on once we're done. Alright, now that everything's laid out, we're going to create the camera motion. I like to just use my phone for this part of the process because it has a built-in flashlight. And the good thing about that is if you're filming in a room, a lot of times you have a light above you or you have the sun, and therefore you'll create a shadow on your text. And the light on the iPhone kind of gets rid of that shadow and makes the white really look white. You can use any camera, but it would be awesome if it has a light on top. Now, I'm just gonna film the camera motion that I want to have the text appear in later on screen. And when I do that, I try to be pretty playful as well. I will go up and down and close and circle around, and it's gonna be a little bit messy. It's not gonna be perfect, especially filming with the phone. It's hard to pull focus. Sometimes we'll go in and out, or too bright or too dark. But I think those happy accidents can really look cool later on. The only really important thing that you want to do for this to work is that you want to start on a completely white surface, and after you did your camera motion, you want to finish again on a completely white surface. That way you can transition in and out of your animation. It's not really an animation, huh? Okay. Now all we got to do is send those files onto our computer and open Adobe Premiere Pro. I already imported the 3 iPhone clips, and I imported the drone background clip. This is this clip right here, which I shot earlier, and that's going to be the backdrop for our text. I personally liked the second take the most of the phone clips I did, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that in. Right now that clip is actually sideways, so I just have to go in here, rotate it 90 degrees, and I'll also have to scale it down because my phone shoots in 4K, but usually all my vlogs are in 1080p, so that's half the size, 50% on scale. I'm also gonna right click or control click onto the clip. I'm gonna click unlink. That's gonna unlink the video file from the audio file. And I can simply hit the backspace, the delete button to delete the audio, because I'm not going to use it anyway. Now, this is the raw clip. And the first thing I do is I invert this clip. For that, I go into my effects and I just search for invert. You want to use the video effect invert, and that will basically make your clip, or turn your clip into a negative. Whatever's black becomes white and vice versa. I want to do this because the overlay I'm going to create is a white text. I found that white texts work better for overlays. So now I have my phone clip dragged on top of the background clip right here. As you can see, the two clips. And what I do next is I go into the effect controls. I go into the opacity panel. I unclick keyframes and I change the blend mode. Now this is really the whole trick to the whole thing, is the blend mode. Because if you activate the blend mode and switch it to lighten, it will overlay anything that is lighter than on the clip below. And since a text is now white, it's pretty much lighter than most things. And since our paper is now black, it's going to be basically deleted or create this cool kind of overlay look. I actually don't mind it at all. Now, usually this is not perfect right out of the box because you see a little bit too much of the paper. So what I do is I go into my Lumetri color panel and I will basically add more contrast to this image. I will make the whites whiter. I'm putting the white up. You can see how you can make the whites pop a lot more. So I usually pull that up quite a bit. I also pull up the highlights. You can see how that affects it too. And then I pull down the shadows to get rid as much of the paper as possible. And I pull down the blacks too. You see that already makes it much cleaner. Now if you want to see more of the paper, you can leave it up. But usually I like to pull it down quite far. You will have to play around with this to your liking and depending what your footage looks like. Okay, now we can play the text, and this is what it looks like. Alright, the only last thing I usually do is I go into my effects and I add a dissolve to the beginning, a cross dissolve to the beginning and to the end of my clip. And I believe I have to trim this clip too. Let me see, once it cuts to white, this is where I want to put my transition. Boom. Now you could also do the whole thing the other way. You could have a black text overlay. What you want to do for that is you want to get rid of the invert effect. You basically have the file as it would normally look like, and you want to change the layer style to darken. And now you have a black text overlay. But this I found really only works well if you have a really bright background clip. And again here you want to probably mess with your Lumetri colors, and in this case, yeah, you want to play with the darks, and you probably want to pull the highlights and the whites pretty far up, which it can give you a really cool look too. But I just found it not as versatile as the white clips. Another cool thing you can do is, another cool thing you can play with is you can record the actual camera movement slow, and then you can speed it up in post, or you can just speed up certain segments of that text overlay. And that's what I just did, and this is the final product. This is what it looks like, my new outro. What do you think? And there you go, those are the basics to this technique. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. I think it's because I'm not really good at animating titles and making cool intros and all that stuff. I can't do any of that. I suck at After Effects. But with a little pen and paper, I found that these actually look like you kind of know what you're doing. And because this is such a basic, essential technique, there's a lot of things I found you can do it. Like I've lately, I don't know if you can tell, but I've been working on making all these kind of animations. So all I do is I draw all the different frames on pieces of paper and take a photo of each frame, put it into Premiere, put exactly the same layer effect on it, and then you get all these cool little effects that you can now put into your videos. Have fun with it, and yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this tip, if there's any other things you would like me to teach, because this is something I haven't been doing this often on this channel. Roll the new outro.